I certainly don't want to speculate on those killed.
And John, it's a little hard to get a sense of the size sometimes for the picture. Can you describe, maybe in feet or in yards, how big a penetration this is?
The roof is collapsed, Peter. There is a chasm in the side of the Pentagon that is probably 200 or 300 feet across. From the roof of the Pentagon, there is this huge V shape that has collapsed. You can see deep inside the Pentagon from the street now.
Today's FBI will not be seen tonight, but will return in 1 week.
Okay, let's do it.
Now stay tuned for the following special movie presentation.
All right, welcome everyone to the Tori Says Show. I'm your host, Tori. Today we have a lot to talk about, a lot of time hops, and a lot of things we should, I guess, understand a little bit better, so that way we know what is coming and what is happening. There are a lot of people making history. A lot of people. So hopefully all of us will be making history together. And hopefully a lot of you can have your ears and hearts open for this. But in essence, I think what I want to do is make sure that I can arm all of you with the knowledge you need to be able to discern fact from fiction. Fake news, you think it's just a hot statement? You think it's fun to just say it? Because we do know that they're corrupt and they all collude. Now I'm going to tell you a few things. I'm going to step into my mind, which is, and do my fancy math of predictive analytics, time travel, whatever you want to call it. On the 5th of November 2020, lights will be out at the White House. If we are lucky and the people have risen above the noise that they make to muffle us, there will be no blood spilled. But there are embers, slow, relighting embers underground that are conspiring against you. They hate you, and if you think that I'm only talking about Democrats or the screaming liberals that just scream because they don't know how to respond like screeching demons, you're wrong. They're the Republicans too. They're dirtier, but they want to come for you. And at any cost, our job is to make sure we figure out each and every one of them. We have to make sure that we can identify those that are for America and those that are against. That includes the media. November 5th is actually my anniversary, but there's a reason that I didn't mention it. And the reason is a clip that I'm going to play for you I'm all about, I say, treason. We should not underestimate treasonous people. Take a listen.
Terrorists, disease-ridden degenerates. They had to go. Strength through unity. Unity through faith. I'm a God-fearing Englishman, and I'm goddamn proud of it.
That's quite enough of that, thank you very much.
Godlessness. Let me say that again. Godlessness. But wait!
A more perfect stage could not be asked for. It is to Madame Justice that I dedicate this concerto in honor of the holiday she seems to have taken from these parts, and in recognition of the impostor that stands in her stead.
I don't see any instruments.
Your powers of observation continue to serve you well.
Eventually, his party launches a special project in the name of national security. At first, it's believed to be a search for biological weapons, and it's pursued without regard to its cost. However, the true goal of this project is power, complete and total hegemonic domination. The project, however, ends violently.
Tell me, do you know what day it is, Evie?
November the 4th.
Not anymore.
But if your ultimate goal is power, how best to use such a weapon? It's at this point in our story that along comes a spider. He is a man seemingly without a conscience, for whom the ends always justify the means, and it is he who suggests that their target should not be an enemy of the country, but rather the country itself.
How many went out?
Remember the 5th of November, the gunpowder, treason, and plot. I know of no reason why the gunpowder treason should ever be forgot.
He blew up the fake Lady Justice, per se, iconically. And this is something that our president wants us to remember, the 5th of November. It's important that we remember it because a lot of things happened. A lot of things that we didn't see, that we didn't realize happened. While the left today is bombarding us with distractions and claiming that they have won the battle, what they do not realize is that it's all coming apart at this. Well, no, they do realize it. This is why they're doing it. But what we average people don't realize is that it's coming apart at the seams. Because sometimes if we look to the past, it clearly outlines what's happening today and what is to come in the future. And, I say this not from the point of reference of Project Pegasus or Alice in Wonderland, but what I'm talking about it from is from the point of reference of predictive movements, okay? Because everyone can see that. If you stand on the moon and look at events unfold, it makes sense.
Good evening and welcome to Tucker Carlson tonight. For many weeks, we've been hearing the outlines of a story about Joe Biden. Hard to know what to believe in the late stages of a presidential campaign. But now we know. We have now heard at length on camera from one of the Biden family's former business partners. He's a successful businessman, very successful businessman, and a Navy veteran. His name is Tony Bobulinksi. Bobulinski spoke for a full hour last night on this show. He told us, and this is the crux of what he said, how he met 2 separate times with Joe Biden himself, not just with his son or his brother, but with Joe Biden, the former vice president, the man now running for president, to discuss business deals with the communist government of China. That's a very serious claim, and whatever your political views, it is hard to dismiss it when Tony Bobulinski makes it, because Bobulinski is an unusually credible witness. He is not a partisan, he's not seeking money, he's not seeking publicity. Just the opposite. He did not want to come on our show. But when Adam Schiff and the Joe Biden for President campaign accused Tony Bobulinski of participating in a Russian disinformation effort, he felt he had no choice. That was a slander against him and against his family. So Bobulinski came. He arrived with heaps of evidence to bolster the story he was telling. He brought contemporaneous audio recordings, text messages, emails, many financial documents. By the end of the hour, it was very clear to us that Tony Bobulinski was telling the truth and that Joe Biden was lying. We believe that any honest person who watched the entire hour would come to the same conclusion. Well, today, a Senate committee confirmed it. The Senate reported this afternoon that all of Tony Bobulinski's documents are in fact real. They're authentic. They're not forgeries. This is not Russian disinformation. It is real. Tonight we have another recording for you from Tony Bobulinski, and we'll add that to the evidence file. We'll play it for you in just a minute.
I just wanted to say, a lot of people are like, how is he getting away with it? Well, I mean, how am I getting away with the stuff that I'm saying? First of all, you're visible, right? The minute you're visible, they can't shut you up that easy. I mean, they can't, because someone else has seen you. Tucker's been on there for a while. You know, if Tucker was outed, then Fox would be toast. Okay? You can't. So he put up a big fight. Murdoch's dirty. We all know that. But they can't afford it because the mainstream media is dying right now. They have no money. No one wants to invest because, like I said, no more will we be investing in mainstream media, right? We're going to be funding real news out of our own pockets. And if we don't like them because they're not being truthful, then so be it. You don't get my $5, $10 a month anymore. Poke it. That's how we win. That's how we control free press, because nobody is free press. If someone's cutting your check other than we the people, you're serving the person who cut your check. So there is no free press. If you guys think, oh, freedom of the press, shut up, man. You don't count. CNN, you don't count. Fox, you don't count. All of you don't freaking count. Because there's people sponsoring your shows, sponsoring your things that are not the people, but they're companies. So you're interest-driven. So nobody wants to hear it. This is why Tucker is getting away with it on an interest-driven network, because he's way too visible and he's making way too much money. And that's how you do it, guys. You can't shut someone up when they're visible.
But we can't help noticing that in a normal country, you probably already would have heard it. Bobulinski told a remarkable story. Joe Biden, who once again could be president of the United States next week, was planning business deals with America's most formidable global opponent. And when he was caught doing it, Joe Biden lied. And then he went further. He slandered an innocent man as a traitor to his own country. It is clear that Joe Biden did that. That's not a partisan talking point uttered in bad faith on behalf of another presidential campaign. It's true. So the question is, what is Joe Biden's excuse for doing that? What is his version of the story? Everyone has a version, and we'd like to hear it. But we don't know what Joe Biden's version of the story is, because no one in America's vast media landscape has pressed Joe Biden to answer the question. Instead, reporters at all levels, and their editors and their publishers, have openly collaborated with Joe Biden's political campaign. That is unprecedented. It has never happened in American history. This morning, the big papers completely ignored what Tony Bobulinski had to say. So did the other television networks. Not a single word about Bobulinski appeared on CNN or anywhere else. Newsweek decided to cover it, but came to the conclusion that the real story was about QAnon somehow. This is Soviet-style suppression of information of a legitimate news story days before an election. The ramifications of it are impossible to imagine, but we do know the media cannot continue in the way that it has. No one believes the media anymore, and no one should. You should be offended by this, not because the media are liberal, but because this is an attack on our democracy. You've heard that phrase again and again. This is what it actually looks like. In a self-governing country, voters have a right to know, an obligation to know, who they're voting for. In this case, they have the right to know that the Democratic nominee for president was a willing partner in his family's lucrative influencing peddling operation. An operation that went on for decades and stretched from China and Ukraine all the way to Oman, Romania, Luxembourg, and many other countries. This is not speculation, once again, and it's not a partisan attack. It's true, and Tony Bobulinski confirmed it. Bobulinski met with Joe Biden at a hotel bar in Los Angeles in early May of 2017. And when he did, Joe Biden's son introduced Bobulinski this way, quote, "Dad, here's the individual I told you about that's helping us with the business that we're working on and the Chinese." The man I told you about, Tony Bobulinski. Now, written documents confirmed this is real. At one point, Joe Biden's son texted Tony Bobulinski to say that Joe Biden, his father, was making key decisions about their business deals with China. Listen. When Hunter Biden said his chairman, he was talking about his dad.
Correct. And what Hunter's referencing there is he spoke with his father, and his father is giving an emphatic no to the ask that I had, which was putting proper governance in place around Oneida Holdings.
So Joe Biden is vetoing your plan for putting stricter governance in the company. I mean, and it's right here in the emails.
Yeah, Tucker, I want to be very careful in front of the American people. That is not me writing that. That is not me claiming that. That is Hunter Biden writing on his own phone, typing in that I spoke with my chairman, referencing his father.
Exactly. That is not Tony Bobulinski's word. It is spelled out in the clearest possible language in documents that Bobulinski provided us and documents that subsequently federal authorities have authenticated as real. On May 13th, 2017, for example, Hunter Biden got an email explaining how his family would be paid for their deal with the Chinese energy company. His father, Joe Biden, was getting 10%.
In that email, there's a statement where they go through the equity. Jim Biden's referenced as 10%, doesn't say Biden, it says Jim. And then it has 10% for the big guy held by H. I 1,000% sit here and know that the big guy is referencing Joe Biden. That's crystal clear to me because I lived it. I met with the former vice president in person multiple times.
So that was 3 years ago, and we still don't know where all that money went. We don't know because the media haven't forced Joe Biden to tell us. But last night, Tony Bobulinski did add a telling detail. Joe Biden's brother Jim saw his stake in the deal double. It went from 10% to 20%. Was Jim Biden getting his brother's share? Again, it might be worth finding out. We also know that according to an email from a top Chinese official, this one written on July 26, 2017, the Chinese proposed a $5 million interest-free loan to the Biden family, quote, based on their trust in the Biden family. The email continued, quote, should this Chinese company, CEFC, keep lending more to the family? And indeed, CEFC was supposed to send another $5 million to the Biden's business ventures. Apparently, that money never made it to the business. Where did it go? A recent Senate report suggests it went to Hunter Biden directly. And from there, who knows? Again, no one's asked. Tony Bobulinski also told us he learned Hunter Biden became the personal attorney to the chairman of CEFC, Ye Jianming, just as they were tendering 14% of the Russian state-owned energy company. That was a deal valued at $9 billion. It's pretty sleazy. It's pretty amazing, actually, that this happened and no one noticed. The bottom line in all of this, and we're not going to spend the next 6 months leading you through a maze of complex financial transactions. This isn't that complicated at its bottom line. Here's the bottom line. Millions of dollars linked directly to the Communist Party of China went to Joe Biden's family. Not because they're capable businessmen, they're certainly not. His brother Jimmy Biden's one business success appears to have been running a nightclub in Delaware. Ultimately, that went under. No, they were cut in on the world's most lucrative business deals, massive infrastructure deals in countries around the world for one reason. Because Joe Biden was a powerful government official willing to leverage his power on behalf of his family. Now, if that's not a crime, it's very close to a crime, and it's certainly something every person voting should know about. The Bidens didn't do this once, they did it for decades. So the question is, how did they get away with it for so long? Tony Bobulinski asked Joe Biden's brother, Jimmy, that question directly. And to his credit, Jimmy Biden answered that question honestly. Watch.
And I remember looking at Jim Biden and saying, how are you guys getting away with this? Like, aren't you concerned? And he looked at me and he laughed a little bit and said, plausible deniability.
He said that out loud?
Yes, he said it directly to me, one-on-one in a cabana at the Peninsula Hotel.
Plausible deniability. In other words, we lie. We get away with selling access to the U.S. government, which we do not own, because we lie about what we're doing. And as we lie, we try to make those lies plausible. That's why we call it plausible deniability. That is the answer that Joe Biden's brother gave when asked directly. So the question is, what is Joe Biden's answer to that question? We wish we knew.
Oh, wait, let's remind ourselves what Joe Biden has said about China for those of you joining in right now.
China is going to eat our lunch? Come on, man. We want to see China rise. It is in our self-interest that China continue to prosper. They're not bad folks, but guess what? They're not competition for us. A rising China can be a significant asset for the region and the world, and selfishly for the United States. We want China to grow. What are we worried about?
Get 3 coffins ready.
I said it a while back. Remember the 5th of November, right? And I think it's time I show you why I said it. November 5th, they're going to shut down the White House. Well, now I know my president won't be there. But they already know that there's a winning party on the 4th. And they're training on gunshot wounds, right? And they're coming with guns, and they're armed, and in their chats, they had Metro PD. Now, we've handed that over to the FBI, but they're useless because there was actually an FBI agent advising them on how to be careful, right? Our own FBI. He's not going to win, but this is what they're planning. You understand? I've told you that. And I said that it will be not a very nice position.
We aired a full hour of an interview with Tony Bobulinski last night, but the interview was so compelling and so long, we began to believe him. It was clear he was telling the truth, and he was saying things that hadn't been out there. So we kept rolling. There were parts that we didn't run last night because we didn't have time. We're going to do that tonight, quickly. Now remember, the Biden family brought Tony Bobulinski on board to help structure their overseas business deals. These are not people who are good at business. A lot of them have had liens against them from the IRS. They're bad at business. They can't do math. Tony Bobulinski's made a lot of money doing business, so he was the math guy. They brought him in to structure the deals. But it quickly became clear to Tony Bobulinski that they weren't seeking funding for a legitimate business. Watch.
And you can imagine my mouth dropping to the floor when I saw that in August of 2017, remember, the Chinese were supposed to be funding Sinohawk at that time. They were sending money to an entity called Hudson West 3 that is definitively and multiple times referenced in the Senate report. Take a step back. In the entity that I formed, Sinohawk Holdings with the Biden family, Hudson West 4 was used, not Hudson West 3. They had funded the money into Hudson West 3 and then taken that money and directly sent it to Hunter Biden's firm called Owasco. I wasn't aware of that fact until I read the Senate report that Senator Johnson and Senator Grassley distributed to the American people.
Wait a minute. You mean shell company within a shell company within a shell company within a shell company? Damn. You mean we've been talking about that shell within a shell within a shell within a shell within a shell distributing. See, this is it. This is how you can see. I'm not giving you, what he is telling you. He's telling you, hey, this is what I have knowledge of. I have been giving you the tools to identify what a shell company is. At the end of the day, you're going to see variations. Like, they weren't even creative. It was company 3, company 4, tagging it so they can see how they can filter the money. This is how they steal money. That's the way it is. So, tools are there. And that's one of the simplest examples, because it's so blatant, because they are so brazen, they don't even try to hide it. As we listen to Tony tell us everything. Thank you, shipmate, for opening your mouth. Love it.
And you can imagine how angry and frustrated I was at that point. Not about the money that I was lied to, cheated from, and effectively stolen from by the Biden family.
Joe Biden knew from the very beginning that what he and his family were doing was wrong. That's why they hid it. That's not Russian disinformation. The Bidens have effectively admitted it was wrong, and in private, they've said it out loud. There are a lot of threads here, but I just can't, I'm fixated on this one point. Tony Bobulinski is not a political person. He's just a business guy. He doesn't want to get involved at all. They accuse him of betraying his country and serving the interests of Russia. He tells them, look, just take it back and I won't expose you. And they refuse to take it back. And here we are talking about it. Why wouldn't they just take it back?
Well, because they're arrogant and they realize that they've got a lot of protection in terms of Joe Biden running for president. I mean, look, these are people who have been working with other countries for years. I mean, I'm going to start at the end pretty much and say to you that, as you've been saying, the Bidens are bad at business. Hunter Biden is the most easily compromised, blackmailed individual in the country as it relates to other nations and what they probably have on him. But in the end, they've got all kinds of money. They were like pigs at the trough. And they believed that they could continue to con America. Joe Biden believed he could continue to lie to America. And it was that arrogance that brought them to the point where they were openly, dealing with a company that ended up going bankrupt, some of the members being prosecuted for money laundering, that Chinese company, CEFC, the energy company, where they demanded $10 million. And then, ironically, Joe Biden comes out and says, China's not the problem. That is the concern here. You've got Joe Biden running on the issue of character, basically saying, I'm the man that you can trust. I'm the man that you can count on. When for years he's worked for government, has houses all over the place. So does his family. All this is a result of the games that they've been playing, leveraging his position in government and his family like pigs at the trough, making sure that they make a lot of money off of it. This guy, Bobulinski, and I give you a lot of credit for getting to the heart of the issue, Tucker, his information is credible. It is documentary evidence. It is emails, text messages, phone calls, credit cards, corroborated by a Senate Homeland Security committee. And in addition to that, this guy is a former Navy lieutenant. He is a high-end businessman. He put a lot a lot at stake in order to come out and let the American people know that this family is a family that's going to sell you out in a minute. Just like Joe Biden, when he went over to Ukraine and said, you're not getting $1 billion unless you fire a prosecutor. He was leveraging our money at that point while his son was on the board of that company he was trying to save. And Joe Biden knew the whole time. He knew the whole time. His son was doing business, his brothers were doing business, and he lied to us. He lied to the American press. And this is a con game. These people can be charged with money laundering. They could be charged with FARA in terms of the lobbying that they've done. This is a RICO. This is fraud. This is conspiracy. Joe Biden is aiding and abetting this RICO. This guy can't get a security clearance if he worked in the Oval Office. And they want to impeach Donald Trump. They can impeach him for what he did in the Ukraine.
Yeah, I don't think anybody in that world is going to be indicted anytime soon. I mean, they're not Roger Stone or something. So, Janine Pirro, great to see you. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Tucker.
So the people in charge have a very familiar and infuriating habit, it's almost a tic, of accusing you of exactly the very things they're doing. It's a cover, of course. So whenever you hear that Russia is doing something, what they're really saying is China, their ally, is doing it. So Google, Twitter, and Facebook, all allied with the Chinese government, has in fact been doing what they say Russia is doing, which is actively interfering in our election. They have deplatformed anybody who disagrees with their candidate. They've censored politicians. They've suppressed the media when it may conflict with their political goals.
I want my MTV!
Turn it on! Leave it on! America! See the music you want to see!
I want my MTV. All right.
I want my MTV!
24 hours a day on cable TV.
I want my MTV, MTV, MTV!
Yeah, too much is never enough.
Purple and white flowers, water 24 hours. Boss gave us powers, water drops and showers. How the fuck jet fuel melted down the towers? Maybe they just think we dumb, but now we louder. Coach came to Boston with crow and clam chowder. I never been absent from class, I stand prouder. Some misclass, they mad cause they doubt her. Heard it from by my book, they talk about her. Saying all the wrong things, they wrong. So I had to put the words in the song and let the song sing. I'm on. Put it in the bong. It's a Bob thing, sat on the donkey and took the long way. Hey, it's a good day. We took plenty of pins, avoid the hood way. We got plenty of hens, the eggs good, babe. I got plenty of friends, they gave the hood AIDS. I tried to tell them, so we pruning these vines and watermelons. They wanna take souls, they making us all felons. So we gotta set goals. Jaunty is still yelling, get your mind right, it's all hindsight. Fuck the limelight, eyes to see, I call it eyesight. We got the time right, I guess we finite. Get the grind right, God hold him. I'm still wondering why he chose him, but I'm cool, I'm frosty, I'm frozen. Bring the bros in. Ooh, pour that tea, who got me? And we changing what we think now. She make me say breathe, breathe, breathe. Her honesty gave me eyes to see. If you listen up close to OG, you know me. And at 12 noon, we all listen to Tory. Breathe, breathe. We gotta fight to be free. Yo, fighting with friends, fighting with pins. Brandon pretends, riding the bins. He lying again, we comprehend much better. It's thousands of stamps, thousands of letters. Overloading every phone in the office, still it get better. So clever. Chestnut checkers, they jealous. Our eyes is open, so what the fuck can they tell us? Tory said dark facts in our receipts, so they won't even be able to walk down the street. Tomatoes, 4 winds blow with tornadoes. Somewhere in the closets, nerds cutting the cable. We need paper, man, we need paper. We don't need machines, they don't work in our favor. Thinking with our gut now, controlling behavior. Doing all the work, man, nothing could save you. God hold him, I'm still wondering why he chose him. But I'm cool, I'm frosty, I'm frozen. Bring the bros in. Ooh, pour that tea, who got me? And we changing what we think now. She make me say breathe, breathe, breathe. Her honesty gave me eyes to see. If you listen up close to OG, you know me. And at 12 noon, we all listen to Tory. Breathe, breathe. We gotta fight to be free.
Welcome, everyone. This is the first of my 2-hour segments going forward between 12 noon of everything that is happening from start to finish. And we're not talking just 2016 and forward, right? We're going back because this is the problem. When we're attacking a problem, what do? We can't just cut the head off. We got to pull it out from its root. Batting for the same team, and guess what?
They hijacked a grassroots movement.
That team is not you.
They started silencing you like crazy, putting you in jail, banning your accounts. Some of them are buried in lawsuits, marking,
violated the law,
and segregating citizens depending on their choices.
Nothing was done, even when people like John Brennan lied before.
We're stealing everything. We're ignoring facts to keep you in check. They ignore you. They laugh, then they attack you. First the guy burned himself, then the kids did graffiti, beat an old man and arrested him. All the corruption, all the evil doings, all the kitty issues, the money laundering, the selling of our nation, the use of our federal tax dollars. The Europeans are on their face eating dirt right now. Africa is so confused on the ground, and they're all looking out from the side of their eyes saying, yo, America, what are you going to do? What are you going to do? It's insane. Anyone who reported anything that's happening been deemed a conspiracy theorist and pushed. They infiltrated the Trump campaign, and they infiltrated one of the most beautiful patriotic days. Infiltrated every facet to piss you off to the point. Kamala Harris, that you just
Hunter
don't care.
Biden,
Joe Biden, Ron Klain. He threatened you live on TV, and you didn't even hear it. His staff.
How they fooled you all.
Let's try working or trusting these completely dishonorable people.
The pain that you're going to go through is because they
have betrayed you.
The people that you trusted betrayed you. Everything you believe you have is an illusion. They can convince you of anything. Everything is crumbling before you, going into your brain and making you feel like you have no and way every out. Single battle is a slap across your face, making you feel like there's nothing you can do.
To leave the prison they've made or to even see it as a prison.
They've got the armor. They've got the money, the lawyers, the media, the megaphones, our goods, our water, our food, our commodities. To feel trapped. Like okay, so we've got to take down the corporation. What's the point? We can't. Why should I fight? They're bigger than us. Up against Goliath. They're surrounding us. They're coming from the top. They're casting shadows. We need them to eat. Our media has the power. We're not going to win. That disappointment. There are mitigation steps. Always brings you to the right place. But the mitigation primarily relies on you, the people. The only way you learn is if you walk right through that fire in the swamp. They took everything away from you. Indicate just how big of an enemy. Because you were distracted with life. I already know how this ends. The thing is, there's got to be things that are done in between, but it's going to be pointless because guess what? We're going to be in the same place in no time flat. I mean, look, the opportunity to stand tall for the people around the world. This is why the United States was designed to show that individuality together thrives because they all have different eyes, different ears, different hearts, different tastes. And this is why this is the most difficult nation to drop. So when you're trying to attack a giant, you guys are ready to take on Goliath. You want to find a tiny stone that attacks them where they're weak. The way to do that is to bring in a Trojan horse. We have laws on our state level. Know them. Get the money. The money was on hold until they completed their investigation. We have laws on our municipal levels. Use them. I said you get federal tax dollars, you're discriminating against my child. See the loopholes. And not only that, I also ding them for not being ADA compliant for the blind on their website. I ding them with everything I could, and they couldn't get tax dollars. In your city, you could get shit done yesterday. You have monthly meetings. You don't have to wait for elections to pass a bill. All you have
have to do is take 100 of your friends to jump through court hoops and say, I want this on the agenda. You don't need to wait for your state legislator. You don't need to wait for your state senator. You don't need to wait for your stupid governor.
You have way more
And that's
power
where they sit down.
than on a federal level.
All your little city council members saying, shit, what is going to go on right now?
You guys think that Goliath is massive, that we can't take down the... Have you guys realized what you've done? What you are doing? You can see the changing face of conservative or alternative media. Where the news, billboards, the letters, the communication, you guys are taking the reins. They hate that they're losing power, that they want to kill you. When you empower everyone else to feel the same and you encourage...
And he needs to know more than ever that the people are behind him.
You are many. They are few.
That organized voice, loud, together, that's a big deal. You have all the power you need.
Be that smart.
All of it. And from small little fires, going in a chain reaction across the nation.
That's how you do it. You take it one bite at a time. See, when you learn to be a shark in a goldfish pond, you learn how to respond faster and attack better.
The strongest people are the ones you think are the weakest. It's the outsider that makes a difference. It's the person that does things because they love something.
Or are you going to chase the lion and pull the sheep out of its mouth? But you have to be unintimidated in the sight of evil people. You have to be confident. You have to stand tall because you have the armor of God around you. Fearlessness because you know that God wins. Fearlessness because you know that you are more powerful.
And they know because it's coming. And nothing, literally. How hard they try, nothing can stop it coming.
Remember, the 5th of November, the gunpowder treason and plot. I know of no reason why gunpowder treason should ever be forgot. Guy Fawkes, 'twas his intent to blow up the king and the parliament. 70 barrels of powder below, poor old England to overthrow. By God's providence he was catched, with a dark lantern and burning match. Hallo boys, let the bells ring. Hallo boys, God save the king. Hip hip hooray, hip hip hooray. A penny loaf to feed old Pope, a farthing cheese to choke him, a pint of beer to rinse it down, a faggot of sticks to burn him in a tub of tar, burn him like a blazing star, burn his body from his head, then we'll say, old Pope is dead.
And then...
Like I told you 2 years ago, remember the 5th of November. So I hope you heard his words, because as I've said for the past 4 years of a Trump administration, there's been also a shadow administration. And this time, it's happening in front of our eyes. On that note, I want to send my love to all of you and tell you that don't let anyone tell you that you're the underdog. We are the majority. Their news are telling you that you're not. The news, the mainstream media, the people that don't matter and you give them weight are telling you that you are not important, that your voice doesn't matter. They stole it at the ballot box, and they have been doing that for decades. Things are about to go really, really quickly. Again, diamonds are made under pressure. It's important to know thyself, know thy core, and follow your gut. While many of you listen to many people now that your president is not out there tweeting and he's not talking, a silent Trump is a dangerous Trump. They all know it. And it's going to be huge. It's going to be massive. You just have to power through it. Again, we got this. I told you last year, the work starts in 2021. So I hope you guys are ready to roll up those sleeves because we got a lot of work to do. You've always been part of the plan of getting America to be great again. So I'll see you guys tomorrow, same time, same place. And for those of you freaking out, guys, the war has already been won. Remember that.
Everything is great.
Marty! You've got to come back with me!
Where?
Back to the future!
Wait a minute, what are you doing, Doc?
I need fuel! Go ahead, quick, get the car!
No, Doc, I just got here, okay? Jennifer's here, we're gonna take the new truck for a spin.
Well, bring her along. This concerns her, too.
Wait a minute, Doc, well, what are you talking about? What happens to us in the future? Will we become assholes or something?
No, Marty. Both you and Jennifer turn out fine. It's your kids, Marty. Something has got to be done about your kids.
Hey, Doc, we better back up. We don't have enough road to get up to 88.
Roads? Where we're going, we don't need roads.
You're still here? It's over. Go home. Go.